I got my hands on the RED Gemini 5K Super 35 and we are going to be reviewing it extensively. We're going to push it to its limit and we're going to compare it in quote with lesser cameras to see how these other cameras perform compared to the RED Gemini. At the end of all of these comparisons, I'm going to make a recommendation as to whether the RED Gemini 5K is still a competitive camera in 2025. Remember, as of now in 2025, the competition has gotten stiffer. So, does the RED Gemini 5K Super 35 still stand a credible ground in the filmmaking market? Well, we're going to find out in the next couple of videos. As a matter of fact, we are even going to test it and compare it with the iPhone's camera. Now you might think it's a mismatch, but then again, why not if not? We're going to press the camera through different filming scenarios, from live recordings to music videos to documentaries. We're going to push the camera to see where it best excels as a camera. And if it's an all-round camera, we'll get to find out at the end of the day. So follow this series closely because you're going to learn a lot. And it will help inform your decision if you're caught between deciding what camera to use for a particular project. This is going to be exciting. In this first episode, we're going to be reviewing the build and the spec of the RED Gemini to check the capacity of the camera, from the sensor size to all of the intricate details of the specifications of this camera. So are you ready? Let's get right into it. At first glance, the RED Gemini doesn't look so much different from all the other RED cameras, just a slight build difference. It is a box, more like a capsule of a camera, cast together in one. And so when it comes out of the box, it just comes in this cinema-friendly shape that we all know. One of the things that caught my attention right off the bat was two fans located at the top of the RED Gemini for cooling the camera internally. So those fans are inward fans, not outward fans. So they work inward to cool the system. And it's actually very cool because one of the problems you have with cinema cameras is that they tend to overheat, especially if you use the Canon line cinema cameras. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But with a cooling system, it means that the camera is built to withstand long shooting hours. Is that true? We're going to find out when we press the camera through long filming hours. The RED is built with a compact minimalistic design. On the body, you see very few buttons, just about 3-4 buttons thereabout. The power button, the record button, and that's just about it. Every other setting you need is in the camera, and it can be accessed via the flip screen on the top of the camera. There are advantages to that, and of course there are also disadvantages to that. The advantage is because the buttons are not everywhere on the body, chances of you mistakenly hitting a button to change your settings are very low. The major disadvantage, however, is having buttons on the body of the camera makes it easier for you to change things with speed. If you have dedicated buttons on the body of the camera like you have on the FX3, where you can control the ISO with just one tap, control the white balance with just one tap and all of that, it makes it easier for you to quickly switch your settings during run and gun shoots. So the fact that the RED does not have those buttons and those controls on the body makes that a little bit more difficult for you to do. For you to change any of the settings, you have to hit the screen, get into the menu, and adjust it. Now let's get into the specs. The RED Gemini comes with a 15.4 megapixel dual sensitivity CMOS sensor. And the sensor size is 30.72 millimeters by 18 millimeters. That makes it a crop sensor, a 35 millimeter crop sensor. Of course, from the name, you already know that this is a crop sensor. The Super 35 gives it away. Being that it's a 5K camera, it comes with a native resolution of 5K. Now, for me, one of the beautiful parts of it is the dynamic range. With a 16.5 plus dynamic range, it is amazing, which means you have a lot of room to balance and play with your highlights and shadows. But again, I'm not surprised because it is a cinema line camera, so you would not expect anything less. With a 16.5 dynamic range, it is excellent. Another interesting thing for me about this camera is that it has dual native sensitivity, a standard native sensitivity of 800 and then a low light sensitivity from 3200. So it has two modes, the standard and the low light. When you put it to the low light, it switches to the second sensitivity, the second ISO sensitivity. At standard, it works with the baseline all the way to 1200. And that's actually worthy of note because RED boasts that the Gemini is a low light friendly camera. One of the things that we fear a lot, especially as filmmakers, when we work with cinema line cameras is their performance in low light. A lot of cinema line cameras before 2018, when the RED Gemini came out, had very bad low light performance. So with the RED Gemini, and of course more recent ones, you have better performance in most of these cameras with low light, and particularly the RED Gemini was designed with that in mind for better low light performance. So with dual ISO, you have that push in the ISO and that shift in the ISO that can help you get the very best in low light settings, even though you still have to be careful when you play with the ISO. It's a no-brainer. At peak resolution, which is 5K, the RED Gemini has the ability to shoot up to 75 frames per second. Now, when you take the resolution down to about 2K, it becomes wild, because at 2K resolution, it shoots up to 300 frames per second. I tried this stuff out and I was amazed at the detail and the smoothness of the slow motion. It's impeccably amazing. At 4K, it can shoot a little above 90 frames per second. This invariably means that at whatever resolution you're filming, the RED Gemini has you covered. And of course, for the recording formats, it records in the native RED RAW format, but also it can record in Apple ProRes and RED ProRes. It has about 5 different recording formats thereabout that you can choose from. But of course, if you're using RED, why not record in RED RAW? Now, I've not fully taken it out for a run just yet, but these specs are screaming cinema. So we're going to try it out for a live recording situation, see what it gives us compared to other cameras. We're going to be pairing it with Sony cameras, Blackmagic cameras, and the iPhone for the live recording. And at the end of the day, we're going to compare all of the footages to see which one plays out better. Now, a live recording is an indoor recording that gives you controlled lighting and whatnot. After that, we're going to take it outside for a music video shoot, an outdoor music video shoot. Test it alongside all these other cameras as well and see what it gives us. At the end of the day, put these comparisons together and we get a final recommendation. Before we go, I'd like to give a shout out to our partners for this episode, Reality Motion Pictures. They provided us with the cameras for this particular episode, including lighting, tube lights, the practical lights. They provided everything for this episode, and we're working with them to test these cameras, put them through all of these rigorous situations and conditions to get the very best out of them, to see what they can do in 2025, considering the level of innovation that's happening in the camera world. So shout out to Reality Motion Pictures. They're a rental company. If you want to rent any equipment whatsoever in the city of Abuja, Nigeria, reach out to Reality Motion Pictures and they've got you covered. Every single kind of equipment you're looking for filmmaking, for music videos, for live recordings, whatever it is you're looking for, these guys have it, and they're a trusted brand. Until the next episode, don't forget to continue to learn, create, until you become.